Good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. Um, Michigan game last week. Some defensively, some guys we thought played well. It was a tough game. Guys really battled. A couple plays. I think they had 3 plays offensively. It got us the QB scramble and the 2 runs by the running back. Offensively we had 2 drives, and that was tough sledding. Our kids really battled and played hard. And that was evident again. You watch the tape. Got to find a way to make some more plays, but it was appreciate their fight, the confidence they played with. They battled really hard. I think the drive at the end of the game, we had 2 penalties there. We would have had them, I think, 3rd and 7 on the late hit. We had a 16-play drive in the 4th quarter. That the way we managed the end of the 3rd quarter on our one drive, and then that drive was kind of the difference in what closed it off. Defensively, Nate Hoff played very well. 5 tackles and 3 assists, very active. Same with Patrick Doherty, who had 2 tackles and 4 assists. Both those guys had 1.5 tackles for loss. T. Gray Scales had another solid game, 13 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss. Marcelino Ball, statistically his best game as far as just grading out. Is again continuing to grow with less error. Only had 2 tackles and 1 quarterback hurry. Didn't get a lot of action, but really played well. And same with Richard Fant, who had 3 tackles. Those 2 didn't get a lot of work as far as the ball getting away, but were very solid all game. Offensively, really had no one up front, tight end, running back. Those guys were stressed and challenged all day. The 2 guys we thought played well were 2 outside receivers, Westbrook, who had 4 catches for 78, and Rick Jones, 4 for 40. But those guys graded 90 percentile in their performance grades. They did well. Our special teams, there wasn't a lot of action. Our punt team wasn't very good. I think we had 2 blocks that led to 3 points. The defense did a nice job of after those of responding, and they only didn't hurt us except for 3 points. Kickoff return didn't get much because they were all out. Same with punt return. Our field goal, I thought Oaks was really good a couple weeks in a row. Appreciate his efforts and the way he played. Players of the game, offensively was Westbrook, defensively Nate Hoff. Special team player was Griffin Oaks. And our attack look, Peyton Ramsey, a couple of other skill guys, Barry and Ken had 3 guys offensively. Some of our scout team guys or walk-on guys. And then Wes Green and Thomas Henderson were our defensive scouts of the week. So again, tough battle. Guys played really hard. Had a good week. Our scouts last week were also, I know going into that game, Coach Allen was very complimentary of our offensive scouts. And we're playing a team that played multiple tight ends in different personnel settings and things that sometimes you don't see as much, and just very complimentary of those guys. And I think it's evident by the way the kids played. It's one thing for those guys to go out and execute the plan and for them to perform well, but also to get the look. So, again, those scout team guys have been really good. We've had some good, strong efforts. 2 weeks ago, had some turnovers that got us. This game here, playing a really good team and a couple minor errors, but guys have battled hard. We got another strong test here this week, playing our rival. Again, offensively, he's played very well and putting up numbers. Number 1 in the conference in passing, quarterbacks making all the throws. David Blau's extremely talented, great arm, quick arm. Yancey, their big receiver, statistically, in the plays he makes at 155 against Wisconsin the other day, ran by those guys, and Wisconsin's playing about as good a defense as there is in the country. You look at their outings, the last few outings, they've had Wisconsin in the first quarter last week, 3-0. Second quarter got away. At Northwestern, it's 14-10 at half. They've got the lead at Minnesota, 28-23. They're tied up with Penn State, 17-17 at the half. They have the lead at Nebraska, 14-10. So last 5 games, so they came out, and Coach Parker's got those guys playing hard, and they're making some plays on offense. And then you've seen us play enough that we've had turnover issues, and we've had the ability to leave points on the board. So we're expecting a great challenge. We're going to have what we told our team, our best week. We're off to a good start. We've battled. What is this now, about 9 weeks in a row, 10 weeks in a row without an open date. But we're, again, healthy coming out of the last game, practicing, pretty good, playing good, not quite good enough all the time. But we're going to need a good week because anytime you play the rival game, end of the year, there's always a lot of juice and energy from both sides. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a tough game. And to me, like we told our team last night, we're very, very fortunate to have this game and to have a strong, great rival, because there's a lot of programs and schools that don't have this chance. So it's a great opportunity to play the game, and with a lot of respect, we look forward to having a good week. We'll need one.
How do you kind of evaluate, especially get deep into the season, how well he's done at a position with that kind of pressure?
Good question, because he could be significantly better just with fundamentals. You know, he's learned to play at a high level against some of the, I think the third-leading tackle on Purdue's teams, their defensive end. And every week when you're going against the guys in the Big Ten bracket and in the Big Ten East, you're playing against some stout guys, and we're going to throw it a lot. And he plays one of those positions where, you know, you're on the island. Like I said before, if you know, center and guard, you're always helping each other. That tackle's got a lot of one-on-one blocks. Once in a while, there's a little tight end help. Once in a while, there's some guard help. But he's out there exposed a lot. And sometimes the differential in athletic mismatch, Zach's pretty strong. That guy's a little bit quicker, more athletic than me, blah, blah, blah. Coy's a very good athlete. I've been extremely impressed with just his toughness. He's a competitive, I mean, you know, his dad's an old coach here and his mom's an educator. And, you know, he's been raised where he battles. His fundamentals could be so much better. He's learning how to play. He's kind of a high school linebacker, kind of running around, just as big athlete. He's got a lot of upside on fundamentals, but if he continues to polish with his skill set and gets stronger and matures and really learns the craft of being a college tackle, he's got a chance to be another good offensive lineman for us. He's had a great freshman year, and like I say, you don't get a lot of help, and it's sink or swim. And psychologically, we talk about a lot of kids on our team that struggle psychologically as they're going things. That's a position where psychologically, you know, there's a lot going on out there. And for him to handle that as a young kid, it's pretty neat. Like I say, same deal with Ashawn Reagan's playing corner, and same thoughts out there with Marcelino. Those three guys are playing positions where they get on an island, and they've all, for freshmen, have handled it. Very proud of them. They've handled it very, very strong.
Better in that area. It's tough to win when the opponent's starting at their own 38-yard line.
Well, again, all those are into the wind now, and we didn't manage the one right before. We ran the ball so poorly in the third quarter. Well, we had one good run, had a holding penalty on 3rd and 10, and popped one. The first drive, we ran the ball, took a deep ball shot, ran it on 3rd and long, and Devine made a great little run against the blitz. You know, we caught him in something that we thought would have a chance, and we got called for a perimeter hold on one of our receivers. But after that, the rest of the half, we didn't run the ball. And, you know, I think there's low minutes left in the third quarter, and we came out in the first drive. We had a high percentage throw we thought we could execute because we needed to get a first down. And I think punting one more time in the wind was one of the differences in the game, which we didn't want to do. But we thought we had a high percentage pass that we had hit earlier in the game to Ricky Jones, and we felt pretty confident we could hit it. And we were backed up. You know, we started out. You know, we spent the whole first half. We spent the whole third quarter on iron and thin, but we're going into the win. So the one thing that helped the punt team is when your offense runs for 55 yards and they run for 220 yards, there's the difference in the game. Because when you're going against the wind, you got to be tough enough to punch it out. So we needed to flip the field position, and we didn't. And quite honestly, we're very fortunate that they didn't get more. I think the one drive on the 1-yard line, we had a go ball to Nick Westbrook coming out and flipped it. Our two drives were both long drives into the win where we scored our 10 points because we're really lucky. If we didn't make those plays, it could have even snowballed and been worse. So now punt team, we had 2 errors where 2 guys basically just missed an assignment, and we cut a guy clean. And it's not very confusing on who we got. A, B, C, you know who you got. And we had some guys just make some mental errors trying to help a guy and not do their job. So that was where the punt blocks were. And then punting into the wind, no one was going to kick good into that wind. That's why we squib kicked it on our kickoffs. So a little bit of the wind. But the offense is a little bit of the Achilles heel. When you don't, you know, run the ball well in late in November and into Big Ten games, it's just hard to have some success. And that comes back to the finding a run game.
Your seniors have a chance to win the bucket for the 4th time. Can you just talk about the seniors as a group and what they've meant to this program?
Well, it's a good group. That's not a lot. I think last week they had 43 seniors up there. I think we got 7 that are playing. And I don't, you know, some of these guys, there's always a 4th-year guy that may want to not play his 5th year. That's an option we give kids. Sometimes it's our thought you're not playing a lot. Sometimes it's their thought. You know, some of these guys, the the wear and tear on your body and the year-round commitment to play some of those positions is pretty gruesome. But academically, I think we've got 7 mid-year graduates, maybe 8 mid-year graduates that are graduating in December with our 5th-year guys. So proud of those guys, from Demetri Camille, who hasn't played recently, and Ralph Green and Dan Feeney and Wes Rogers, Jacob Bailey. All those guys are mid-year graduates. And Mitchell Page, Ricky Jones, Dawson Fletcher, they're all mid-year graduates. So proud of those guys. That actually opens up recruiting spaces for mid-year if you want to put a walk-on scholarship or bring in mid-year guys. We can't bring in mid-year guys if spaces aren't available. And the only way a space becomes available if a guy graduates. So we've got some of those guys. It's a good group. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem, they've been such a pleasure to coach for the last couple of weeks. It doesn't seem, the weather's been awesome. Got cold here the last 3 days, but it hadn't seemed like November. It seems like it's October, because it's a good group to coach. You don't feel like you're pulling teeth every day to get them going. So it's a great group. They've set a pretty good standard. But as far as the game, we go back to this is this week, and it's this team and this week. And last year's team had success, or other teams have or haven't. But my thing with these guys, we just come back to this week and the game and the week of preparation. And not to be corny, but that's how we started with them yesterday. It's about this week. And love them to death. It's a great group of guys. They're going to be very, very successful. We've had several strong classes in a row, I think, of great kids that are helping us get there, not where we want to be. I think we got some guys that will have a chance maybe for NFL opportunities. Matter of fact, I don't think it'll come out. Can I make that comment right now? Okay, but we'll have good news about one of our guys here within an hour, right? 3, okay, so we'll have a little accolade for one guy that's coming along. So there's some good things happening for guys. So it's a great, great group. Love them. But really, we're not melancholy about like it's the end. Because to me, I enjoy coaching those guys so much. It's like, I just talk about you want the season to continue and maintain the life of working together. And we went out today and we didn't talk a lot about seniors. We're talking about the best Monday we can have and the best prep we can have to have a great game and play well in our game against Purdue on Saturday.
But Dan is obviously, whatever happens, win or lose, he's playing his last game here on.
Well, the other guys too, though.
What?
The other guys too.
Well, but you've talked a lot about Dan through his career. You've said he's one of the better players you've ever worked around. Just kind of how have you seen him grow, even in his final season when he's had to go through, and what'll it mean, I guess, to you to see him go off for that last one?
Well, again, you want him to play well. And again, I appreciate, him having the confidence to come back. I think in talking to the scouts I've dealt with, and he dealt with an issue there that cost him a couple weeks of the season, but he's still rated, considered very, very high in the comments. Now, those aren't always the decision makers. It's the scouts that come through. But when I say compare him to this guy and this guy and this guy, they have very high regard for him. I think him playing the tackle spot, coming back and playing well, shows, again, his durability, his flexibility. And I say I've been lucky for 20 plus, 30 years, whatever it is, to have some decent linemen and some guys that had nice pro careers. And his college background, his college pedigree is as strong as any of those guys. He is a tremendous player. He is a better person, and he has all the intangibles that I think it takes to have been a great college player, and I think it sets up for him to have a chance to have a great pro career. We're going to finish this college thing really, really strong if we can.
With Dan playing tackle, I saw Stepniak got some action at guard.
Yeah.
And as you said, they can help him there a little bit. Any guys, any young guys coming on for you in the line that you see?
Well, again, we got Grayson Stover, Mackenzie Noor being redshirted that we're high on, and Delroy and Devondre Love, the 2 big tackles, I think are going to be solid for us. I think D Love's really coming on good. The Stepniak playing the last game was pretty encouraging. He had a great look in his eye. I even mentioned that to Coach Fry. I think he got it there and was having some fun. I think, we had him set up and slated, we thought potentially to start. And they kind of had a sluggish preseason camp, and Jake Bailey being a veteran, and Wes Martin, and we actually at one time looked at Simon at center, and we very much expected him. So I think he's finishing good, and having been here 2 years, it's kind of good to see. We need him to come through. So he's been pretty solid. Let me think who else here. Of course, Wes has been. Brandon Knight, we think is going to be a great player. Coy Crunk, we think he's got a chance to be a great player. There's some. We'll need to recruit and get a little bit more to be too deep, like we need to be. But I think we're going to throw 7, 8 out there. And the way we lift with Coach Caton, and I think Coach Fry and Coach Patton's background and a little bit of my background as a line guy, I think hopefully we can continue to develop those guys. It's a developmental position. It's credit those kids, though. Some good bodies and some good DNA at work with just their mindset, the way they approach the process of playing college line. It's a tough job.
You said that you're not melancholy about this being the end. Do you talk to these guys about if you win this week, this isn't the end, that you get another month?
Nah, we hadn't talked about that. Hadn't from since we started. Like we've never goal of we've got to be a bowl team. Our goal is to play as good as we can each week and see how we stack up. Statistically, their teams are going with they have the bowl opportunity at 5. So I mean, we're not even we need a good week. This is our rival. It's a big week. We've gotten better each week down the stretch. We let a couple slip away. You don't get every bounce and break, and sometimes when you don't, you sit there and point fingers. We blame our quarterback for picks, and now he's got a couple games of playing pretty good ball. Our kicker got a little awry. He's got a couple weeks in tough conditions back on track. We've got several injuries, and this team's battling, and this team's overcoming, and it's been playing good. And all we're talking about, man, we just want to have a fun, good week. And it's not corny, but to me, there's just a way you go through practice. You got to have talent, and you got to put together a game plan. You got to call plays and all that. But there's a way that you go through the week that gets your team ready. And we've been really, really good at that. We've been a rock-solid practice team for a while, and we're trying to etch that into being a better game performance team. And we need to just have a great week and go out and play as well as we can and see where that stacks up. And that's kind of all it is. I think sometimes, too, when you get melancholy, I think guys have regrets. I don't the way these guys practice go about it, I don't think there's a lot of regrets. You sitting there, you see people sometimes at funerals wailing and all that stuff. And I made a comment, about a family show. I saw how strong they were. It's dealing with something. That's why, I think our team's pretty much at peace with itself. I think it's pretty strong. I think they respect, I know as coaches, we respect them, and I think they respect themselves and the way they go about their business. I think we're just at a different point of where we are in analyzing ourselves. And, you sure would like to have had a few more W's, but you sit there and look at it is what it is. And, those mistakes or that play made it good or made it not good. But again, we go into this week, like I say, it's we're working as hard as we can to have another positive week. I know day practice was a good day out there. We need to have a great week.
The opportunity to do something, win 4 straight bucket games, which has only been done once. I'm sure maybe I don't know if you talked about that or not, but how significant would that be?
Well, again, that's a story that you guys will talk. All we talked about was this team and this week, because that's not this team's. Somebody this week's going to earn that bucket. This team or the rival, and that's all we talk about. Like that bucket's last year's. That's last year's, and now it's this year. And you've recruited, you have developed, you have practiced, you've played your season, and now you're into this game week. And now you have this game week, and you go play this game, and you go about and see if you can do what it takes to earn it. That's all we talk about.
I guess contributed to Griffin getting in that funk a little bit mid-season. What do you think, as you talk about he's getting better these last couple weeks, what do you think's helped get him out of it, I guess?
I don't know. I ask him. I know from a coaching standpoint, we've been pretty confident that we know how good his leg is. I know he's dealt with a little bit of a quad leg issue, a little muscle pull, where sometimes and you're missing kicks. You want to kick more, and the more you kick, maybe the weaker it becomes. There's a fine balance there. There's a fine line. So we didn't do a lot of kicking. We did go back with Mitchell at holder. I just tried to be a little bit more consistent with where the spot was, but it's credit to him. He's the only one that can get himself out of it. He's got to battle through it. And short term he has, but Fish's golf world back there had a great line, and I've never forgot a long time ago from Crenshaw that golf is a game you never own. You just rent it from time to time. And I think that about kick. You never own it, and it's just the next kick, and you're fighting, and it's fleeting, and it's, like it went away. And it's a credit to some of those kids. They stand out there. I was thinking the other day, it's kind of funny. You sit here and look, and you watch some of the media deals, and And we've been a part of it on the good side and the bad side, but where they take a college kid and then kind of mock him on the plays of the week, kind of laugh at a kid. You know, that's a college kid. Like, come on, man, it's just a kid out there playing ball, and that ball takes funny bounces, and and just it's. I was just thinking about that today. I was going through it, and not personally because it bothered me about any of our guys, but you're just sitting there and you got all these college kids, and all of a sudden we're ridiculing a guy for missing a slam dunk and airballing this, or just dropping the ball before he scored, and at the same time it's still some kids. So it's like I say, you never own sports, and those are a bunch of good kids. I think it's a credit to Griff to get where he is now, and be a sign of maturity. See if he can keep it. Keep it locked in, because it's hard to do.
You guys got 14 or so commits. I know big bodies, linemen were a priority early on. From now to signing day, what kind of positions or priorities do you have to finish off the class?
Well, one, it'd be interesting because as you go through this season, exactly what do our final numbers end up being? We have a small senior class, but we always use the walk-on scholarships because those are kind of 1 year, and those guys earn them back. So what are our exact numbers? Do we get to 20, 21, 22? Do you have guys that decide is anybody going to look at the NFL? We'll next week talk to kids, and we'll go through the process of, if anybody wants to get their grade, we'll visit with their families and give them a chance to make their decisions. You'll have some fourth-year guys that say, hey, I think, maybe I want to graduate. So, we've got a couple guys that have been dealing with injuries. We've had, like this past year was Isaac Griffith, or a year before it was Ralston Evans. We've had, we've had Don Booth, guys that couldn't play anymore. So what is your final scholarship numbers? We don't know. But down the stretch, we need a quarterback, and we're working hard at that. We need a couple receivers, with what's going on. I think defensively, we'd still take another D lineman. I think we'd take an offensive tackle possibly. We've got two tight ends, maybe we're running back, find the right one. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a corner or safety in the mix. And we do need two linebackers in this class. We've got one, but we need two more. And so, and at the same time, I don't know what you got, because recruiting, unless it's a mid-year kid, will start Thursday after the convention, January. I think it's the 12th, and then it's hang on till February 1, and it's rock and roll. And so, because there'll be a lot of coaching changes and coordinator changes and things, and out of the blue, just guys come out of the woodwork. So right now, recruiting has done solid, but we need to hang on. And we need to finish strong, and we expect to do so.
Last game, looks like they've given you a lot of intangibles, more than just their play on the field. Ricky Jones and Mitchell
Yep.
Page, looks like they've given you a lot of intangibles on the team, more than just what they do on the field. And their last game coming up at home.
Well, they've both been really good special team players. Ricky was recognized. Had a couple tackles on the kickoff cover team again. Mitchell's back there as our return guy and our hold guy. So, but where they've really been is when they talk to our team, the way they talk about their preparation and the way they play, and then they go out and put it on tape. Those kids play very, very hard. They practice very, very hard, and it's a joy to watch. Like last week, Jacob Bailey was on a scramble block, and he was on his hands and feet, the old kind of bear crawl thing, going 10 yards fighting and scratching on a Friday practice when it's light, because it was a senior knowing he needed to go hard and get ready for this game. And so when you have the visuals of Dan Feeney, and I've always talked about Divine Redding being a good practice player, Mitchell Page and Ricky Jones are two of our best practice players. They're two of our best game players, and they're verbally two of our best leaders. And not only because they're nice with their verbal skills, but they back it up with their actions. They're awesome academically. They're both set to graduate. They're going to be successful. They've been great Hoosiers. And I know they both talked about wanting to finish strong, and they played well down the stretch. It'd be nice to see how they finish here down the stretch.